No one asked for a dick pic. I didn't ask you for a dick pic because I didn't sit there and spread my legs and take a picture and put that up.
Do you get dick pics?
All the time.
Oh my god.
All the time. It's disgusting. Like, I don't... Have you not?
Welcome to the Unapologetic Podcast with me, Sophia, Leonie, and my host, Baig. And today we have a guest, Jourdan Riane.
Hi.
Welcome. Our topic today is about social media, in particular Instagram. Is Instagram empowering to women? Is it helpful or is it harmful? And that's what we're really talking about today. Jourdan, tell us a bit about yourself.
Oh God, I don't even know what to say now. You know, when you put on the spot, like, what do you say? I'm a model and actress as well. And I guess social influencer. I guess that's the term everyone's using for it now. I'm kind of now all about using my platform to kind of help the younger generation not be so misled by what they think they can see online. Okay. And kind of keep it real with them.
Interesting.
That is interesting. So that leads me to like my first question. Obviously, you're a social influencer, so you're using Instagram and you're using the social media platforms as part of your work.
Yeah.
Do we, as women, think that Instagram is empowering? I have some views about it that are contrary to that, but I definitely think that there's an argument that it might be empowering. What do you think?
I'm split 60-40 to empowering.
Okay.
I think when Instagram first started, it was more like an 80-20 to empowering. Like, it was very empowering. It allowed everyone to kind of just show people who they were. You could be free of it, but because it was limited to things like pictures and videos, it, in the beginning, I felt wasn't as harmful and as negative as it is now. And where girls as young as 12 are now on social media, you know, with things like, I don't know, like with things like editing and abuse that you can type and passing around viral videos of attacks and things like that, I think it's tipped the scale and it's no longer as empowering as it could be and should be, and now is more harmful. Okay,
so you think it's probably more harmful than empowering?
Yeah, only just, but yeah, at this point, definitely I'd go with more harmful.
What about you, Mehreen?
I think I agree in a lot of ways. In fact, I agree on the whole. I think it's really interesting that you're like, one of the main parts of your profession is to, as you say, we were talking before we started recording and you said, I don't like the term social media influencer.
No, I don't like it. It is.
But what is it?
True,
I'm intrigued about, like, what you don't like about, like, what makes you uncomfortable about it.
I think people misuse the word influencer now. So I think anyone now that has a big following, and by big following, like what a big following used to be was hundreds of thousands of followers. And now a big following is like 20,000. So anyone above 10 or 20,000 is now an influencer, but their influence isn't necessarily positive.
Why do you think so many people are taking on that label for themselves then? Because I think a lot of people, I guess, are calling themselves social media influencers when you think perhaps that label's not worthy of you. That's not worthy of them.
I think people use it because it makes them feel, which is really weird, it makes them feel empowered. It sounds really weird considering the question, is it more empowering or not? But people nowadays think that's what you need to be accepted. So when they say it, it's like, oh, well, I'm a social media influencer. And it's like, but what are you influencing and are you really? You know, like that's kind of what comes to my head. Like, I think people say it because they think it comes with a sense of power and a sense of importance, and it doesn't.
Where I stand on it is that I think in lots of ways it is a really empowering tool. So, for example, and as women of colour you will relate, where in mainstream representation women of colour have been missing for a long time, and where you may get the token dark-skinned girl to, you know, promote some sort of makeup campaign just to say that, hey, where she's there, where
we do diversity.
Exactly. Hey, I don't know how many mainstream campaigns have ever got Asian girls in it. You've got you've got the one model, can't even think of her name, one Indian model, and that's like basically it. Token done, one for the entire industry, and that's basically it. You grow up never seeing anyone who looks like you being called beautiful. You don't 100%. See anyone who looks like you in adverts. You don't see anyone who looks like you in billboards. You grow up thinking you are not the definition of beauty.
100%.
And actually what social media has done is it said, we don't have to wait for someone to believe in us. We don't have to wait for someone to believe in our idea. We don't have to wait for someone to believe in our beauty. This is my page and I'm beautiful and I'm my own model and I'm my own campaign, and people have obviously bought into that. And you've got everything from hijabanistas, these girls who are like fully covered, modest wear, and they've started businesses. Who else was going to believe in them? And you've got, you know, so you've got this entire spectrum of like, who would ever take me for modelling? I'm like 5 foot tall, but I can, on my page, I get people telling me I'm beautiful every day, as well as the complete opposite. But I have the platform to be able to do that. Also, I guess, where you had to wait for, and this is for social media in general, where you had to wait for someone to commission an idea, for actors, for anything like that. You don't have to anymore. You believe in your idea, you believe in your talent, you can reach the entire world in a matter of seconds. That power didn't exist before, and I think that's massive.
And you can show the companies that you have a fan base, you have a following, so then they come to you, or they believe in you, whereas before you were knocking on the big boys' doors all the time.
Exactly.
Trying to prove that you're worthy of them and their company.
And the big boys, I hate to bring it back to race again, race and gender, but the big boys are often white men who are from a private school background. Like, that is remains till 100%. This day. Those are the big bosses. And actually, we don't need to knock on anyone's door anymore, because like, and I love the BBC. So I love the BBC and they are phenomenal. But how was I found to be on TV? I didn't knock on anyone's door ever, but I started writing. I had the platform to no one could filter what I was saying. No one could tell me to not say something. I didn't have to fit anyone's agenda. I wrote about what I believed in how I wanted to say it, when I wanted to say it, I said it. And that's how I was spotted. And that way, it's amazing. However, I think the negatives outweigh the positives. So where it could be this beautiful, and lots of ways it works for people, and you can't sort of make sweep statements about lots and lots of people, I do think that it conforms to the male gaze. I do think, which is like sexist, it's sexualized.
100%.
And I do think that it encourages complete, like, body image is already it was always such a massive thing.
It's worse now.
But the way we edit photos, the way we edit reality, we are constantly comparing our lives to something which is completely
fake
and filtered and fabricated.
And in some ways, in some ways it's like we're going back, I think, as women. It's almost like we're trying to conform to the perfect woman now, because we can create the perfect woman on our page. But instead of creating, and in some ways we are creating new narratives and new versions and being really empowering and trying to change things, I think because it's so hard as a woman to come out of that, to say, you know what, I don't care about how I look, I don't care about being pretty, I don't care about being sexy. It's still so hard for a woman to do that and be successful, that we're using the platform to still reinforce those ideas.
See, I think the battle changed. I agree, but I think it's so much deeper now. So I think the battle from before, when you would compare yourself to women on the front covers of magazines and stuff like that, when it was a battle between women of trying to look better than the other woman, I genuinely think that now you're just battling yourself, because now you have to be better than your last post. Instead of like, I need to look better than she does, it's like, okay, so I need to look better than her. So in order to look better than her, my last picture, I need to double the likes on the next one, so the next one people can see, and then I can get more followers. And then you're literally battling with yourself every day to be a better version of yourself, but not in the better way. If that makes sense.
To get more approval from other people.
And that's when over editing starts. And too much comparison starts, and self doubt starts, and then that's when their insecurities triple.
And the issue is that we're all women and we are aware of all of this. But the issue is that there are a number of people out there, and not just young people, but especially young people, who are looking at these images, looking at people's, not just appearances, but their lives in general, and they have no idea it's fake. They buy into it, they believe it's reality, and that's dangerous.
And even though people like us that know that it's fake to some extent, I don't know about you guys, but I still think that it affects all of our mental health to some extent, and we're still comparing
100%.
ourselves, even though we know that these pictures are not a representation of anybody.
So then imagine what it's doing to someone who's not aware of that. Like, when you think of that, that's when you realise how scary it is. And with now, like, to make money, influencers are now, like, Kim K put it up and had to take it down, but I've seen numerous other girls,
The lollipop.
like things that are selling promoting things that are gonna stop you from feeling hunger, stop you from feeling hungry.
Things like slim teas and stuff like that.
Yeah, but so what? We're encouraged. It's more important now to look like you're having a good meal than actually have a good meal.
I was thinking about this the other day. I'm a little bit older than you guys, and my first holiday I went on was Club 1830's holiday. So it was basically this cheap holiday that you pay, like, I think it was £400 for 2 weeks in Napa.
Oh my god, it's the good old days.
It was literally just like drinking.
For like 2 days now.
Yeah, literally. No one would want to see these pictures because it was like grimy. The hotel was grimy, the pool was grimy, but there was lots of drinking and lots of kind of clubbing, lots of having lots and lots of fun. And then a couple of weeks ago, they closed, or they announced they're going to have to close Club 1830 because people are not booking it anymore because it doesn't look Instagrammable.
Yeah.
So, and obviously there's issues with club drinking and all the crazy stuff that was going on, the sex and all of that drama. But I just remember thinking we had so much fun just going and having a good time, not spending a lot of money, not really caring about taking pictures and what we look like. And the whole idea that just can't exist anymore because young people or women even, anybody in between those ages wants an Instagrammable holiday. So they care more about what it looks like and what they look like than the experience.
100%.
Have you ever, I'm so intrigued because I'm pathetic on my social media, so I will just disappear for a bit, and I really think, oh no, I need to, and we're always talking about this, like we need to be regular, we need to post regularly, that's how you, but then I flop at it because life takes over. But do you ever feel like, I'm assuming you are regular,
I post every day.
Yeah, do you ever feel like you're going out to places, but your experience of, I don't know, being at a festival, for example, is almost taken over by, I've got to take a photo, let me take sort of 50 shots and pick the best one, but before you can enjoy yourself?
Not anymore. It used to be up until I'd say last year.
Okay.
So when my Instagram first became known, I didn't go on Instagram to do Instagram. I didn't want to be a social influencer. I literally fell into my lap. I didn't even know it was a thing.
How did it happen? Just as a
teach us.
So I've always done modelling. So I was doing shoots. People saw it here, there, and everywhere. A picture of me and my best friend went viral on Facebook. It had like 20 million likes. I don't even know how it happened. I was never tagged, but a few people started tagging me, and then people started knowing who I was. But it really blew up when I'd done a photo shoot 2.5 years ago, and it ended up on Vogue Italia. It was an accident. It wasn't supposed to happen. Vogue Italia found it. They picked up on it, used it. And then from there, I was like, oh, okay. So I tailored my images to look more like that. And back then, like, my natural hair was a massive afro. It was huge. And I became known for it. And it wasn't until the beginning of last year, which is when everything changed for me, which is why I said I used to be that person that I cared more about the image, when I realised I would only get booked for jobs if my hair was like that. If I straightened my hair, no one cared. And I realised I was defined by my hair. And I was like, I need to find a way to break it and be able to be adaptable, and people see that I'm not just a black girl with an afro. So I worked on that, and that's when my fashion came into it, and I broke away from that. And when I broke away from that, I took a step back and kind of realised I can't just focus on what a picture looks like. So I went to Coachella recently, and yeah, great, I took loads of pictures, but the way I plan my start, and even that, the fact I have to plan, but the way I plan it is that I will take a bank of pictures before I go so I can enjoy it.
Okay.
So you can let your hair down.
Yeah,
literally.
If I take a picture there, then I'm like, oh, okay, like, don't get me wrong, I'll take pictures, but I won't be fixated on it. Whereas before I used to be like, I can only be here to take a picture. If I don't get a picture, I can't enjoy it. I'll take enough pictures so that if I don't post one that is of then, I've enjoyed it. And I always say now, like, my favourite types of people or my favourite types of scenarios are those where I don't use my phone. Because I remember it more. I will laugh until my stomach aches and I'm crying. Whereas before, I was all about, like, okay, so my family have a house in Spain that has a pool, but we sold it. And I used to be like, if we still go back every year, we just rent them now instead. But I used to be like, if there's no pool, I'm not going. Why? Why? Because I wanted a picture by a pool. And I'd find the nearest pool and take a picture just so I could be like, yeah, I'm at a pool. Like, ridiculous. Whereas now I'm like, I could be in the middle of nowhere for a week. As long as I'm living my best life, I don't care. But it is a constant mental battle because I have days where I slip back into it.
Do you ever feel like it's really affecting your mental health? Like, literally the use of the phone?
Yeah, oh my God. Like, I am glued to it. And I am aware of that. And the reason I'm okay with it now is because I'm not glued to it to scroll through Instagram. I'm glued to it because I get my work calls, my emails, everything's on my phone. But I did go through a phase where I didn't have that, and that wasn't my full-time job, and I had an actual job, and I was glued to it because I wanted to see what people were saying about my pictures.
Yeah.
And so if I'm sat there on my phone and my mum's talking to me, my mum will just pull out her phone, and she will not talk to me for about 3 hours, and I'm like, hello, and she will ignore me. And I'm like, why are you ignoring me? She's like, because I've been trying to talk to you and you won't get off your phone. And that's how I had to learn, because she used to say to me, you don't even know what's happened around you in the last 3 hours. Like, someone could have literally been beaten up and you wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
And it kind of made me snap into reality. And not everyone has that, but I feel like everyone needs that person that draws them out of it. Mine just happened to be my mum, but you need help. It's hard. Like, even now, my mum will be like, put your phone down. And I'm like, okay. Like, and even then I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Panicking.
I find that I turn it off.
Do you?
I find it. Yeah, I get really.
That's
I
so
find
good.
it makes me quite anxious.
I couldn't turn it off. I think I'd die of like anxiety if I turned it off. Not for
so
Instagram,
good.
just generally.
Yeah, I
like
would
my phone
die.
is toxic. One day I will revert to the Nokia, and
yeah.
like that is the plan.
That is the plan.
Yeah.
But it's for me. If I turn it off, I feel like after a while, I feel a bit itchy. I feel really relaxed. I can sleep. I can work on whatever I'm working. I can write. I can anything that needs to get done can get done.
What about when you've just uploaded a picture, both of you? Is that when you're most on it?
I turn my notifications off.
I'm the opposite. I'm the same as you. When I just upload a picture, I don't touch my phone for like an hour. But that's a psychological thing. That's a mental thing. I have to tell myself, don't look at my phone.
Okay.
And then I'll put on my
Do you read
favourite
comments
show.
though? Generally, like will you eventually?
Every single comment.
Okay. You do.
But that's because most of my comments are from people that are looking for advice and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I'm fortunate enough that my comments are like 95% good.
What about negative comments? Because I do think social media, particularly Instagram, can be quite a nasty place for women in particular. Have you guys experienced that?
Every day.
You put them up,
Literally
don't
every
you?
day.
You screen grab them.
I don't
and put
always
them up.
screen grab them,
You
so
have to.
I have done.
Yeah.
And every now and then, if one particularly irritates me, I will put it up, especially if I know that this, like, especially when, do you know what annoys me? When people think they're being really clever.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, I've analysed that actually Mehreen, and I'm like, you're talking shit. And
Yeah.
you like, and that's when I screen grab it and I'm like, okay, let me tell you all the reasons why, don't come at me. But usually I leave them up. It's very rare I delete them, only because I don't, A, want people to know that I've seen it, and B, it's important for other people to see what other people are saying. I leave them up. But I do feel like if I get 90, and I get 95% really good comments, but then 5% are horrible. Recently I was really badly insulted for my skin being too dark. When I put up, I was called all sorts of things, and it was 2 accounts, both fake accounts, who just kept message upon message.
Oh, it's always fake accounts.
Shall I tell you something? I haven't told anyone.
Okay.
I haven't told anyone.
Okay.
Yeah. But let's talk about it. I'll tell you why social media is toxic and Instagram is toxic. I use it for work, and like I say, most comments are great, and it's great in a lot of ways. I was recently filming for my new show, and I went to an area which was quite dangerous, and predominantly Asian, predominantly Pakistani. And we were filming there for days, for a long, long time. And it was fine. People did recognise me, and they'd be like, oh, you're blah, blah from Instagram, or you're blah, blah. Yeah.
I love that you knew that.
It sounds like it could be Bradford.
And it was great, and it was fine. And on my last day of filming, I was doing a piece to camera, and I was talking about... my piece to camera was talking about how actually we often hear stories about certain areas and certain communities, negative stories, and we never step foot ourselves into those areas, but we kind of paint everyone in that community with the same brush just by the stories that we've heard. So, all people in Tottenham must be like XYZ, or all Pakistani boys in Bradford. And actually I was in the middle of saying that I've met some of the most incredible boys I've ever met during my time here in Bradford. And it's so unfair that they will struggle to get a decent job. They will struggle to, to get any decent opportunities because they are a young Asian boy from Bradford. And while I was... I'm going to cry. While I was saying it, this car full of Asian boys pulled up. My age. Young Asian men. And spotted me and had seen me on Instagram and said, I know you, you're Mehreen, etc. You're a fucking whore. And in front of my entire team, they tried to run us over, chased us all the way, like essentially out of the area, and filmed it all and were uploading it onto social media while they were filming it. And that's the kind of shit that I spent years working with young girls when they'd film fights, and then you'd say, oh, it's on Snapchat, or and I'd be like, I'd work with kids about that, and it was happening to me, and I couldn't believe it. And I knew instantly it was going on Instagram because I could hear it on loop as they were, you know, when you finished recording the video, you can hear it. And that night, for various reasons, obviously, that was the most humiliating thing that's ever happened to me in my life. But all I was thinking is, this is going to be on the internet and my students are going to see it. And my family around the world is going to see this. And this is like, and that fear literally like made me feel sick to my stomach for a whole week. And that's the danger of that.
Yeah. No, but it's true. I'm so far away from you. I can't even hug you, so I'm gonna.
Yeah.
But no, but it.
And that was because people thought they knew about me, about my life, about the state of my vagina, about what I do in my spare time because of my Instagram. And because people had that access to spread me getting attacked to the whole world within seconds.
And there's something quite slut-shamey about that.
Yeah.
They think that, you know, the idea that a woman who owns her sexuality, who is intelligent, who's smart, who's doing her own thing, who's vocal.
Because I'm not even promiscuous on Instagram. I don't think I'm vaguely promiscuous on Instagram. But I was a whore because I had a voice, and I was a woman who had a voice on social media, and I talk about things and I call things out. And
that's not your place.
Yeah.
That's not your place. And
women have it a lot worse than men on social media, I feel.
I agree.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced anything like that? Not necessarily like that, but as in social media.
I don't. So I was gonna say, like, you know, you said there are some that like you might occasionally post, and you don't delete them. I am actually the opposite. So I delete them not, and it probably doesn't sound believable. I delete them not because I don't want to see them, because I've already seen them. I've already felt it. I already know how it made me feel. I delete them because I actually don't like when other people attack the person that said it.
No way.
And I know it sounds silly because people will sit there and say they deserve it, they shouldn't have said it, how dare they, people come for them, but everyone has a reason behind it. I'm not saying the reason is justified, but at the same time, the person that could be saying it to me, I don't know what they're going through. So I don't like the idea.
Escalate that.
Right, and there are people that have killed themselves over it, and do you know what I mean? Like, you just never know. So I delete it to save, because I've watched it happen. I've seen on my comments people attack other people because they've said, I don't like your dress. Like something that small, and I'm like, and they'll attack their appearance, and I'm like, you know, I just delete it. But I get disgusting messages. I've had someone message me and tell me to get cancer. I've had someone message me and tell me that I deserve to be dead. Like, I've had horrible things.
I don't like. The thing that bothers me is a lot, like, kind of coming back to kind of what we were talking about before, when men, I think, can be quite nasty about people that are using social media for their careers. Like, obviously, there are lots of issues with social media. There are lots of issues with us trying to be perfect and you know, editing pictures and how that might affect. But at the same time, it's a platform that women are using for good. You know, it's helped you in your modelling career. 100%. It's helped you in your TV career. It's helped me with loads of things I'm doing, acting roles, writing opportunities, loads and loads of things. So I feel like it is very empowering. And so for that reason, when I see a lot of those memes, I don't know if you've seen like memes, there's one that was really irritating me. If Instagram wouldn't exist, a lot of girls wouldn't be models anymore. Something like that. And it's just like, okay, but what is your point? There are lots of girls that are doing this, and they are making something from their lives from it. And I don't feel like we should be putting women down for using the platform.
I think the point of that comes from when I said it's a similar situation to when I was saying about the term influencer. And I was saying everyone's quick to be like, I'm an influencer. Nowadays, you can upload a pretty picture and people are like, I'm a model. Not understanding exactly what comes with it. Like, I model.
Isn't it just it's just a different type of modelling? It's not like you're a catwalk model. It's not even like you're a commercial model.
Okay, but then
you're
that's
doing
like
something.
before Instagram existed. Then you uploaded a selfie onto Facebook. Would you have classified yourself as a model then?
But people wouldn't see your Facebook. So Instagram being such a different platform.
No, but they would. They would. So
Facebook's for your friends,
there was
right?
social media before. So I'm saying, like, because social media, there's loads of different platforms on it. So I'm saying if Instagram didn't exist and you uploaded a picture of yourself on Facebook, people wouldn't say you're a model.
They wouldn't say that you're a model. And
No.
you wouldn't be. But with Instagram existing and with it having that platform and with it allowing that, I just think that just let that be, like, allow that to be valid for those people that are using it.
No, I mean, I think if you do model on social media and you are promoting brands and you are doing photo shoots, you're a social media, you're a model. You're a model. But there's also the girls that literally take a picture of themselves in a mirror and they're like, I'm a model, and you're like, no, you're not. So that's where the lines blur. But it's the same thing with influencers. When girls have like a 5k following, they're like, I'm an influencer, and it's like, but what are you influencing? Who are you influencing? And are you influencing for a good thing? Like, it's a similar kind of thing. Like, you can't take a selfie and instantly you're a model. It doesn't work that way. Like, it's not easy.
I feel like with all of that, with what I hear what both of you are saying, but I feel like with it being almost, I agree with, like, yeah, girls are using that platform, let them use it. But with that, it's almost like now an increasing number of girls, especially younger girls again, are growing up thinking that this is their career, this is going to be their career. That's their aspirations. And we've kind of lowered, especially female aspiration, to wanting to be a social media influencer, wanting to be a model, but a model by the right of a model on Instagram. Because they see these lavish lives and they think that this is the ultimate success story. And I guess those girls are achievable. I could be like her if I just, maybe showed a little bit more skin, if I wore a little bit more makeup, I could. And that's a problem that, it's great that some girls are using it as a platform, but it's a problem that that's what our aspiration has become. You'd rather, I mean, if you asked a group of 20 teenage girls if they want to be doctors, teachers, or Insta-famous girls, who are they going to want to be? And that's an issue. And it's also blurred lines between, I feel like, social media escorting is on the rise, and a lot of deep and dark stuff goes on behind the scenes of this, and it's almost blurred lines between prostitution and what's not prostitution. Like, these girls would never classify themselves as someone who's like a prostitute, but actually there's a lot of stuff going on to keep up this Instagram life behind the scenes.
Like, who is
we've seen that. Like, we have seen that, and they would never say exactly.
And you don't see the dark side of it,
and that's the problem. And look at all three of us, all on Instagram, all addicted to it, all talking about how bad it is.
I know. I mean, I don't think it's all bad.
Like, it's not all bad. I just think it's more bad than good.
Then why are we on it?
Well, for me, I'm on it because, like I said, multiple reasons. My main reason is because I want to be able to, even if it's 10 people, influence younger women to not follow that route, to do things in a professional way, and to show them that you can be a minority and still make it further than those who are the majority. Right. I could care less about anything
and
else.
That's quite important. It gives you access to talking to people in a way that you wouldn't necessarily have, like communicating with people that are like you, similar minded, who are looking up to you or you're looking up to them. So it's a way of, I think it's really nice. I've met people from social media that I didn't know in real life, like, and these are girls, by the way, not guys. But I've literally made girlfriends, people that are, we're like-minded. I'm interested in what you're doing, you're interested in what I'm doing. We have similar political views. And I think that's a really big thing, that the platform, not just Instagram, but lots of the social media platforms allow for you to meet like-minded people. You can find your tribe.
So spill some tea. Tell me. You don't have to tell me.
Okay.
Have you ever, I know I have said numerous times with my friends and possibly with you, I've said, if I was taking sexier pictures, if I took my clothes off on Instagram, I'd have a hell of a lot more followers. But I can't for various reasons. Have you ever felt like, let me show a little bit more, or let me do something slightly more promiscuous, etc., because I know it's going to get more likes or increase my... Have you fallen into that trap or that temptation?
I think we all have.
Yeah,
I think
I've done it.
Quite honest.
I've done it. Not extreme, But I
And then where's the limit? What's the limit?
Oh, so for me, see, that's a good question. I've never thought about a limit because I only ever told myself that as far as I would go would be things like bikinis or like underwear, but in a sense of more like a sports bra and a top, or like lounging underwear kind of thing. So my thing was always anything that someone in public can see me in, i.e. on a beach.
Yeah.
I don't mind it being on Instagram because, well, I've walked around a whole beach in it. So to me, that
Underwear?
in my
Public
head,
don't see that
there was no
underwear.
difference. Yeah, but then that's why I said lounging underwear.
Okay,
because I'd be
okay.
comfortable being in a house of 100 people in like a snazzy sports bra and shorts. I wouldn't care. Like I could be in front of anyone. So anything that I'm comfortable being in front of a mass majority of people in, I don't mind putting on my Instagram. But I wouldn't do anything topless.
Do you ever feel like you're
or
being a bit more
thong.
daring on your Instagram than in real life, though? Do you ever feel like you push it a little further?
No, I'm the opposite.
Okay.
I'm actually the opposite. I'm a lot more daring in real life than I am on Instagram, just because I know that young girls follow me. So
That's crazy. I'd always assumed that you'd be more daring on Instagram because you can edit it.
no, but that's because I'm not really a fan of much editing. Like the most I do to my pictures is editing things like lighting.
Okay.
Or if I've got a spot, I'm like, you don't need to see my spot today. But I don't sit there and edit my body. I don't sit there and I'm like, oh my God, I need to look like a doll and give myself coloured. I don't do that. So my aim was always, when I first joined Instagram, I need people to say I look the same. Because if anyone sees me and they're like, you don't look the same, I'm going to be like, what? Why? I've always wanted people to say you look exactly like your pictures, or if not better.
Yeah.
Like that's what I've always wanted. So I'm always more daring in real life. Like I will go out partying, for example, in like high-waisted shorts and like a lace bra, but I probably wouldn't post that.
Yeah.
But I would post a bikini picture because, well, I've walked, like I said, like I walk around in a bikini. So you'd think that you'd be more daring on Instagram, but I'm more daring in real life because I'm like, well, this is how I look on both. So who
I think I'm
cares?
probably the opposite. I'm quite like, in real life, I'm quite conservative, maybe. I think I'm more conservative and more kind of
I think
introverted
so.
and more quiet. Whereas online, I'll say a lot more about everything, and I will.
You're very confident online. You're very like,
'Cause I have time to
almost,
think.
Yeah, like you have no filter as well.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Whereas in real life, my personality is much more introvert and much more quiet, and I take a lot in, so I can't respond in real life that quickly. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah,
completely,
Because I
yeah.
need to process it,
Yeah.
and I would let the loudest person in the room take all the space.
Yeah.
But I'll be taking it all in, and I'll be thinking about it.
And then later
and
on
then
go
I'll
write
and then
about
I'll write
it.
about
That's
it.
my life,
And then,
yeah.
and then I'm just like, okay.
You know that feeling of like, oh, I wish I'd said that. I'm like, yeah, I am
That
going to
is
say
like
that. I'm
my
going to
heart.
type it.
I'm the polar opposite. I don't really speak much. I do speak, but not much on my social media, as opposed to if I was to do a video. I would just say it as it is. Like, that's how I am as a person. Whereas on Instagram, I don't think, I just write.
I'm in awe that you say you don't edit your photos much. Like, I edit my skin in every goddamn photo there is. Like,
I just take out spots.
I edit, like, this skin will be smooth, face-tuned all over
love a
it.
face
tune.
Yes, yes.
I love a face
like,
tune.
especially after I got chickenpox last year and I was, like, left scarred. That shit is getting, like, edited in every single photo. I've never, ever Instagrammed a photo without smoothing my skin out. And I will hold my hands up and say that. As much as I say it's toxic, as dangerous as fake.
I do edit my stretch marks though. So in every bikini picture, get rid of them. Slowly I've started to do it less because I'm like, I have them. But I edit them because it's an insecurity of mine and people are horrible. And I don't want to
don't
have
have
to
to deal with
listen
that.
to it.
Yeah.
But the reason I've stopped is because I can't just get rid of them. They're there for a reason. They're there because my
And
body
people probably
changed.
like to see them and know that you're
Some people
not
love them.
normal, like,
Yeah.
You know, like
And
them.
but that's something I had to accept, and that's an area that I always edited. But I got rid of that as quick as I could. That's the only thing really I made sure. I kind of was like, yeah, just gone.
Yeah.
Gone, because I didn't like the way it looked.
Yeah.
Sure, I do. I don't like it. I don't wear a lot of makeup. I might wear a bit of eye makeup, but if I have a picture, I always make sure I've got like lots of blusher on. Otherwise I feel like I look really dead.
Do you?
So I feel like
Out of everything you could do, you add
Blusher.
I add
Not an
blusher.
eyelash,
I
not
don't-
eyeshadow, blusher.
I add blusher. I think it's really. I really don't like to look like my face is.
I like an eyeliner.
I'm not happy.
I'll add
I'm
a
not cute.
highlighter because after I smooth
I
my
don't
face out, then it's like a bit flat. So then I might highlight it a little bit.
I just like that clown look.
Yeah.
I think every human edits. I've watched men edit their pictures.
No way.
Yeah. I've watched men edit their pictures to thy kingdom come. Like,
that's so unattractive.
yeah.
I can't stand boys taking selfies in general.
Oh,
That's
no.
so, I like any
I
man
love a
who
selfie.
takes, even if he's like gorgeous, I'm just like, that really puts me off.
I don't like
I hate taking selfies.
I hate it when I see men do it. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's
See,
just
I hate
disgusting.
watching them do it, but when I see the selfie, I'm like, that's a really nice
No,
picture.
I don't.
I
Oh, do you know what I hate
like
them? When they got that.
Oh, so you can see the abs as well.
I don't do that.
See, and I was like, yeah, I like that.
But that's because they think women like it. Because
No,
women will
they
comment
don't
like,
like
oh, your abs, oh my god, I love
You
you.
know when they bite their lip in a photo? There's a biting
Stop.
lip photo. It makes my
People
skin
do that?
crawl. Yeah.
I don't know why, but now we're playing into like what men should do and what women should
It's
do.
true,
The
it's-
idea that men shouldn't be concerned with what they look like, but we should be.
Yeah.
We're like literally just buying into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hypocritical.
Men are very concerned about it though. I know men that wear makeup and would never admit it.
Swear.
They'd never admit it.
Would you go out with a man who wears makeup? Just as like off topic completely, but
Probably not.
no.
Probably though. You even put probably in there.
The reason I put probably in there is because by the time we started dating, that shit would stop. So- but do you know what it is? It's not because I don't agree with it per se. It's more because my preference is to just date someone for exactly how they are. But that's the same reason that men don't date women that wear wigs, weave, extensions.
But
It's the
They
same-
say that.
No, they
don't,
say that, but
do.
there are men that don't.
Really?
And there are men that will try and change that woman. So by the end of, or the time they start properly
You're
getting into
right
a
though.
relationship.
Start controlling what they look like and
Exactly.
and how they dress and stuff like that.
Exactly. So
Which is not cool.
I could never sit here and be like, I wouldn't date a man with no makeup and then expect men to just accept women that wear it.
What about going back to Instagram, men who feel like it's appropriate to slide in your DMs? How do you feel about that? Because I find it wildly inappropriate and I do not want anyone that I do not know
you?
coming in my DMs. I do not entertain that shit. I don't like it.
I think it depends on what they're
definitely.
saying and the approach and whether it's genuine or not. And I mean, you can never really tell. It's up to you whether you want to entertain the conversation or not. But I don't think there's anything wrong with if I uploaded a video, this video for example, and someone DM me saying I really like the way you guys are talking.
Oh, okay.
Stuff
no,
like
sorry.
that.
That's nice. I'm being
But do you
harsh.
mean to be like,
I mean,
you're hot?
You're hot. Can I take you
What's
out? Or
wrong
like,
with
hey,
that?
I don't know.
See,
What's wrong? Like I'm putting myself out there. I'm not a private account. I'm a public account. I'm putting up pictures where I want people to
It's gonna happen.
appreciate. Like that is gonna come with the territory, and I have to be aware of that. Like, am I expecting to put up a picture of me and then I want a boy to perhaps message me and say, "What books do you read?
Yes.
What university did you go
yes,
to? I want
yes.
to know."
No,
No,
have some respect.
yeah, but
Ask
they
me
need
that
to-
myself. What, I can look nice and you can still see me as a human being that is multifaceted.
No,
But
so
yeah, but they
no.
need to. But they
That's
need
what
to. They
I-
need to
that's what
start
I
the
like.
conversation
They're
somehow.
gonna
That
tell
doesn't
you
mean
you
that they're
look
not going to
nice.
ask. But
Let's
how do
start-
they?
start there.
Unless you
I feel
uploaded,
sorry
like-
for guys sometimes. I genuinely feel sorry for
No.
men because sometimes I think they don't even know how to approach women
Oh, they
anymore.
do.
because
Just be
no,
nice.
but I do feel sorry for men because look at how we're reacting just to them commenting on the fact that we might be beautiful. Like we're like, how dare you? Don't DM me. How else do you expect them
feel
to say
like-
it? Sometimes
yeah, I feel
they
like-
need to. They're
You
men.
don't have to approach. But we're all not on the cattle market. Like you don't.
It's
you don't
one
have
thing
to.
we agree when it comes to things like, obviously we've spoken about the Me Too movement and stuff like that, and if you're at work and you've come in and you're like whatever, you look particularly nice that day, and then boys are going to come and make, like, men who work with you will make remarks. It's like, well, I
yeah.
didn't dress up for you to
Yeah.
then I understand. I'm in a working professional environment. I've come here to do whatever my work is. I don't need you to come to my
Instagram
parents.
can be a professional environment.
So if
that's
you've
what you
uploaded
use it
something,
for,
and if I've
yeah.
uploaded a picture and I've gone to work, you know, that day, and I'm, you know, really professional with the kids that I've taught that day, and then you're like, oh, I like your breasts, fair enough, inappropriate. But if I put up a picture where I'm posing, I'm putting it up to look hot, to look sexy, and then he's going to comment and say, you look sexy. Of course he's going to say you look
Facts.
sexy, because I
No,
put up a
facts.
picture on Instagram for you to comment on how I look.
Yeah,
I don't know.
100%.
Like, there's a difference.
100%.
You can't put your
I
pictures
don't
out there.
I don't put my picture up for somebody to message me that you look sexy. I don't do that.
Then why'd you put it up?
Because it's
Genuinely.
because it's a part of me. Some of my pictures are sexy, some of my pictures are very unsexy, some of my pictures are writing, it's just a different part of me. And that doesn't mean that I'm inviting you to
Comment on...
to ask me
I
or
think
to
it
be
does.
flirtatious. It doesn't. You don't have to be that's not required. It
I
isn't.
think-
Unless we have a relationship, we have a friendship, and that's our vibe, then that's a little bit different. But if I don't know you, that's just not how you approach anybody ever, online or in life.
I think from the minute you have an open social media account, you should expect it. Doesn't mean you have to like it.
Okay.
But you should know that you've invited people to do that now.
Yeah.
Because
and there are limits. I'm not saying there aren't limits.
No,
there
of course.
and some things are nasty.
Yeah.
And no one asked for a dick pic. Like, I hear that.
Things like that, you're crossing the line. You're just disrespectful now.
Yeah, but I do feel like I wouldn't be offended if someone's messaged me.
What's the difference between a DM of someone saying you're beautiful and someone commenting it on your picture? There's no difference.
There is. It's because they're trying to get into a private conversation.
But you don't have to entertain it.
No.
So if you don't entertain it and someone says it to you and you decline the message, there's nothing wrong. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's different if you then accept the message and you're like, thanks, and then they keep talking. Then I can understand why you might be like, okay, well, I was just saying thank you and I'm grateful for the message. But for someone to just message you and be like, you look hot or you look sexy, okay, like, you could have commented that, you chose not to, you thought you could try and get a conversation, it's not going to work. It didn't work. Like, I feel like any picture you upload, just having an open social media account invites people to comment on your life. And that's why I always get...
I guess it's the fine line. I'm really sensitive to, like, creepiness.
Of course. Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, there is, which is what you said, there's a limit. Like, no one asked for a dick pic. I didn't ask you for a dick pic because I didn't sit there and spread my legs and take a picture and put that up.
Do you get dick pics?
All the time.
Oh my God.
All the time. It's disgusting. Like, I don't...
I don't know
Have you not?
With that.
You don't want one. It's not. It's yeah. It's not good. Like, people do it all the time.
People around the world.
Yeah, because men think that's what you want.
Men are so confused about what we find attractive.
But this is why I said they don't know how to approach us. That's why I said I feel sorry for them. Because they don't know what to do anymore. Like, some men genuinely don't know how to approach women anymore. They're like, here's a picture of my dick. And you're like, okay. A high would have been, like, perfectly acceptable. But, okay, let's just delete. Like, I genuinely think there are men across the world who just don't know how to approach women. But I don't blame them for not knowing, because women are so, just different. I think to approach a woman to each other. Like how you'd want to be approached. You could never generalize that and say all women want to be approached by saying no, every single woman is different. Whereas a man, I think to a certain extent you can. I think you could bolt together most... Would you DM guys in their Instagram? No, never. I've DM'd 2 guys in my life and it was for work purposes. That was it.
You mean ever?
Yeah.
Ever. I'm talking about...
And I DM'd them for work purposes in terms of, like, I watched them, they were in a movie and I was like, they're never going to reply. Now I'm friends with them. So it was. And that was literally just the basis of, I really appreciate what you're doing for the community. I think your acting work is incredible. If you could ever recommend anyone, that type of stuff.
That's lovely. Those kind of messages I love.
Yeah, but then they were quick to flip that. And I was like, hey, you're hot, okay, bye. That's not that. Do you know what I mean? So, like, that's why I say there's such
we should be teaching men that the conversation can go beyond your hot. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like, if if that's your starting point, I just feel like we generally, like we said, we don't do that to guys. We don't go in their DMs and go, oh my God, you're hot.
I think some girls might.
Some girls do. Some girls definitely do.
I read my male friends' DMs all the time, and I think sometimes women are more thirsty than guys. Genuinely, you'd be very surprised at the type of DMs women send to men. But here's a question then. The conversation can go further than you're hot. Genuinely, would you guys believe if a man DM'd you saying, I really like this picture, but really I'd like to get to know you more. You seem intellectual. Would you take that for face value and be like, yeah, right, exactly. So what are they supposed to do? What are they supposed to do?
I prefer that though.
You might prefer it, but would you not? Because I wouldn't believe it.
I'd be like,
do you think I'm stop lying, like cut to the chase.
I'd be like, oh, thanks.
Oh my God.
I'm currently reading.
I'd be like, recommendation.
Tell me what you need. I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't believe it for a second. I'd be like, you're finding a way.
If it's like, look, you're really hot, I'd love to get to know you, I'll be like,
keep it 100. But I wouldn't believe them. But the sad reality is there are some men that genuinely are like, I really want to know you on an intellectual level, and you just don't take it for face value, which is why men just stick to you're hot, because they're like, there's no point me even trying to beat around the bush. I might as well just tell you I think you're hot from now. But I just feel like I feel like it's a lose-lose for men most of the time when it comes to sliding in DMs. I really do, especially if the female has a high following. They don't stand a chance.
Do you read all your DMs?
Every single one of them.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't accept them all.
Yeah.
Because some of them are just disgusting.
Yeah.
But I read every single one because there are people that message me for help.
Yeah.
So I always read it.
Remember I messaged you. I was like, hey, you're in LA.
She messaged me and I completely missed it when I came to LA. But then this is what I mean. But when I go on holiday, no, I didn't. Because when I opened it, I was like, oh shit, yeah, you really did. But when I go away, I don't look at my DMs ever, which is weird because I focus on where I'm going. Like I travel, so like this is going back to what I was saying earlier. When I say now, I focus on the trip more. So anytime I'm out of the country, don't even WhatsApp me, because I'm like, I'll reply 5 days later, like, hey, sorry, I was in LA, and people are like, okay, like you can still reply. I'm enjoying myself too much, but now I make a conscious effort every day to read them if I can. Even for 10 minutes, just quickly see as many as I can, and then
it's like the new fan mail.
Yeah, completely,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Some of them are funny. I think some people are hilarious sometimes, and I'm like, I follow more people from reading it because I'm like, you're actually hilarious. I'm gonna follow you now.
What about, so if you like a guy but you don't meet him online, so like in the real world, but he doesn't have a high, like he's got an Instagram but he doesn't have a high following, does that influence how you feel about this guy?
I prefer it.
I don't want my man to have Instagram at all. I don't like that.
I'll let you go first. By the way, I'll let you go first.
No, that's the I
What if he
just
said
don't.
that to you? I don't want you to have Instagram.
No, it's not. I'm not going to say get rid of your Instagram.
Okay.
Like,
You'd rather meet someone that's
I'd rather meet someone. It's not that I'd never go out with someone who, I mean, if he was selfieing on Instagram, it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Might work for some girls, but I would rather have a man who's just not into social media, because I don't particularly like it. And it took me a lot of convincing to get me on it in the first place. Now I do it because I have to, and one day I will come off it. And I don't want a man who also, I just want my man to be too busy.
Yeah. It's quite unattractive to be addicted to social media.
Yeah.
And I think it's socially more
when a guy is
acceptable for girls.
more into his phone.
You mean as a
and
man or in general? It's
no,
unattractive.
It's unattractive as a man to be
yeah.
with a guy that's always on their phone, always on his phone, and then you've got to take the pictures for him and stuff like that. I found that quite
I couldn't do that.
hard. Just more interested in other people than you.
I don't mind if they have it. I'd rather them not have a high following, because I personally couldn't handle being with someone that did what I done. I couldn't do it. I admire any man that ever dates me, ever. Because what comes with it, the people that come with it, the attention that comes with it, you have to be a very strong person to be able to accept it or ignore it. So I admire that, and I'm not that person. So I could never be with someone who does it, because I would go crazy. I wouldn't like it, and not from a jealous point of view, because I'm not a jealous person in the slightest. I don't care about any of that, but it's the attention thing. Like, I know me personally, I am capable of being able to maintain a relationship and social media, because I'm able to discuss with my partner and be like, look, work will come first, but I will always give you the time.
Yep.
I will always make time. Whenever you need me, I'll always be there.
So he
4 o'clock
can't have that convo with you?
He can, but me as a person, I'm less accepting of it. So I would never want to be with someone knowing that I'm not going to accept it, because I wouldn't want to put either of us through it. Which is why I say I admire men that would ever date me, because if you accept that, I'm like, wow, you're good. That's hard, because off of social media, I've dated people before that even off of social media, I could walk down the road and someone says hi to me and they get angry, and I'm like, all right, calm down. Like, how are you going to cope if people
But that's about
message
finding
you?
a strong man, somebody that's
It
secure
is.
within himself, that he's going to be able to handle that. And
But that's why I can't.
So in conclusion, is social media, is Instagram empowering, and is it helpful for us women, or do we wish that this did never exist?
I think it has the potential to be empowering. I'm glad it exists. I think it's more detrimental than it is empowering, but yeah, overall I do think it can be an empowering platform.
Echo what she says, and I can't wait to come off it one day.
Yeah, same. I think it provides
It
so
was great
many...
while it lasted. Nice relationship, great. Don't want to see it.
A bit like MySpace.
I don't think...
High five. High five was the one.
See?
But I think that it evolves, and I think there'll be another thing, and there'll be another thing, and I think if
There's
we
always.
keep using it, and it's giving more and more women opportunities and chances to tell their story and tell their narratives. But one thing I do think, which we didn't get to talk about, is if we choose to vary our feeds, if we choose to follow other people, if we don't just look at the same, because we choose, our algorithm is created by what we choose to look at. So all these clones that we see, it's because we're choosing to see these images over and over and over again. I just think there's lots out there on Instagram, on social media, that is empowering, that is diverse, and shows lots of different types of women doing lots of different types of things. But it's up to us to kind of not be addicted and not get sucked in to these kind of clone versions of what women should be. And I feel like if we can, we should make sure that Instagram and all social media, whatever comes next, remains a diverse representation of us, then we're on the right track.
100%.
That's what I think. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for listening to the Unapologetic Podcast. It's been fun.
That was
Join us next time.